Balls Podcast
with Mark Davis, Chris Meinhardt, Luke Rule, Jake Winnekind, Alan Tomasella, and Nick the Doc Skirkle. Good evening. It is September the 4th, 2024. This is All About the Balls Podcast. I am Mark Davis. That right there is a veteran of the United States Army, full beard and all, a returning Chris Meinhardt. Chris, how are you doing tonight as we are officially one fucking night away from the 2024 NFL season?
I'm doing pretty good, Mark. I hope you can hear me.
Oh, I can hear you great. You sound great. You look great.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. A lot of stuff going on lately. Can't find my camera, so I'm using my laptop camera. Stuff is still in boxes, so everything's going good.
I mean, I'm hoping this is going to be good because right now, like I'm currently sharing my screen, which is a PowerPoint, because tonight we are going to be giving our predictions for Week 1. It's a new format this year. We're going to do a little bit of previewing the games actually, rather than kind of just doing a roundtable who we got winning, repeating ourselves. So we'll talk the key games, the key storylines of each week, and then we'll make our predictions. The names will already be next to it, but we'll still say who we got. And, you know, we have the spread on there as well. But so if I'm a little laggy, just let me know, because last night it worked fine. Hoping it's not. Let's do a test, Chris. When I say New Orleans, say Saints. New Orleans?
Saints. Who dat?
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I was doing that with Luke and Doc last night. But Chris, yeah, I'm doing great, man. Texas is, Florida. God damn. The Atlanta Falcons play this Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Texas Longhorns play this Saturday against the Michigan Wolverines. So we are going to talk college football too. That's the part of the new format. Wednesdays and Tuesdays will be college football, fantasy football, NFL. So you missed a lot, man. You know, it's good to have you drinking a Miller, I see, huh?
A Modelo.
Oh, Modelo. I saw an M. I just assumed.
Yes. Oh, yes, sir. You know, Modelo.
Well,
no, excited.
I mean,
excited to be in here, Mark. I mean, watched y'all while y'all were live. We were moving, so couldn't really be part of it.
Well, we do. I understand, like
where you
were living before too wasn't the best internet neither out there at old Daddy Aaron's place.
Rough, rough times out there in Amish country.
Hey, man, I'm just glad you had internet. You know, I'm just glad you're able to socialize with us from time to time. You just couldn't. You couldn't be like the main hub for things. You know, you just had to watch things. But Chris, I mean, also sorry about your LSU Tigers. I mean, you know, you lost your running back today. Obviously, devastating loss to USC. So I think you're due for a win this week with the New Orleans Saints. You got to have one. You got to have one of your teams.
Yeah, I think LSU and the Saints are going to get their win this weekend. It was a rough game last weekend. It hurt, but hey, Joe Sloan probably needs to call a more aggressive offense in the second half, because Kyron Lacey literally was getting fed the ball the first half. Then he had one attempt the second half, which is outrageous. So,
yeah, and for everyone that's going to be listening right now, everyone that's listening after we record this, like I said, every Tuesday, Wednesdays, we're going to be live at 9 p.m. to talk NFL recapping on Tuesdays, NFL preview on Wednesdays, college recap Tuesday, college preview Wednesday, fantasy football both nights. If you're interested, like I said, it's going to try and be about a 90-minute episode, maybe 2 hours if we have good interaction with the people. But Chris, let's start off hot, man. Let's start off right out the gates. We have an AFC Championship rematch that kicks off the NFL season between the reigning MVP Lamar Jackson and the one-seeded Baltimore Ravens facing the Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs were here last year. They did lose Week 1 to the Detroit Lions by a one-possession game. So the question, though, is for this game, what is the biggest storyline that is attracting your eyes when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs, to kick off the season?
Yeah, so, I mean, big thing. I mean, Ravens had a great record last year, 13-4. They added Derrick Henry, which is a huge workhorse in the backfield. That's going to take a lot of pressure off Lamar Jackson. I think the Chiefs are going to do what they do. They start worrying about their regular season record late in October. I think this game is going to be – I think with the Chiefs, I can easily see maybe a 6-yard run by Pacheco, and then Andy Reid is going to say, hey, let's try to take a long shot to our new rookie out there. So I think
Horns.
Andy Reid's going to go Horns. Exactly. I think it's going to be a great game, honestly, to start the season off. But I do think, are we doing scores right now? Like, are we doing projections?
No. This is just previewing the game. So, like, we were talking, we're going to save, like, we're going to try and be quick with not quick, like, we're going to rush it, but, like, about 10 minutes for the picks between, it's going to be typically 3 or 4 of us every week. I will have whoever doesn't make, but no, we're just talking game, just talking game. Like, for example, like, Chris, I agree with you there, man. Like, I like the Derrick Henry accusation. I do have Derrick Henry in our fantasy league. But I think the main story, besides the Kansas City Chiefs being dominant, is well, first off, will Todd Monken go back to what carried the Ravens to the regular season or through the regular season last year, and what they went away from against the Baltimore Ravens or the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, and that's run the ball, set up the pass through Lamar, and now Derrick Henry. Like, I'm not saying Lamar has to go up there and run the ball 15, 20 times, but you got to utilize your legs. You got to have design runs, design options. You got to challenge the Chiefs. You got to bring them in, sucker them in, and then hit Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Aguilar, Bateman's playing, those guys. You gotta run the ball. And I'm also interested, Chris, to see how they run the ball with Derrick Henry, because usually Derrick Henry's a guy that likes to get a little steam. The Ravens loved being shotgun. So how does that set up Derrick Henry too? Like, I mean, that's something that I have my eye on, is how does Derrick Henry going to be utilized in what formations?
Yeah, I mean, Roquan even came out, I think it was this week, and said the way to beat the Chiefs is to make them one-dimensional. So, I mean, I think they're going to sell out on the run to stop Pacheco, and they're going to make Patrick Mahomes pass the ball. And, I mean, we've seen what Patrick Mahomes can do passing the ball. So, I don't really – dimensional isn't going to help you.
Not sure if, Chris, you're still with me at the moment. I think you froze, Chris. I think Chris did freeze. Yeah, it looks like Chris did freeze. So, which is unfortunate. So it's gonna be a one-man show at the moment. I'm gonna remove Chris off the stage until I see him coming back here. So I think that the key thing for the Baltimore Ravens is, or this game in general, is like Chris was saying. Sorry, I'm trying to get Chris back in here. The Ravens want to make the Chiefs one-dimensional, but the thing is, which dimension do you want to make them? Do you want to make them a running team, or do you want to make them a throwing team? I get it if you stop Pacheco, and then what happens with Patrick Mahomes in the passing game? I mean, I get it. There's going to be no Hollywood Brown, but there is going to be Xavier Worthy. There is going to be Rashee Rice. There is going to be Travis Kelce, of course. So that's my thing is man, I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me here. So I just think that the Ravens have to just focus. Well, first they need to focus on offense. They need to run the ball. They need to be able to carry the run there, let Derrick Henry eat, and open up the passing game to Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers. It's his second year, so it's a big year for Zay Flowers here in the system. But same thing with the Chiefs are. Let's see if we get them back here. You there, Chris?
Yep, I'm here.
I don't know what happened there, man. Yeah.
It's trying to warm up also, We took a long time off.
No, I totally understand.
Trying to warm back up. You still got me?
I still got you. I'm trying to deal with the slideshow, and every time I go to the slideshow, all of a sudden now, maybe it's because I'm not in share screen. But anyways, yeah, Chris, I just think that the key, like you said, but if I was trying to ask the question was, if you make them one dimension, are you sure you want the passing game to be the one dimension? Because that's dangerous to say, hey, Mahomes beat us. You know what I mean? I'm a little worried for the Ravens at that point, because it's Patrick Mahomes still.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens have proved they have definitely a proven secondary. They have one of the best safeties out there. They have that up and coming corner. I forgot his name right now. Wish Luke was on here.
They did draft 2 corners. The Ravens did.
Yeah. So I mean,
Marlon Humphrey.
I think their secondary is proven. It's if you can take the run away, I do think they have a better shot at beating Kansas City.
I would agree with you if this was last year. I just can't get on board with that because I think this Chiefs offense. I get it, no Hollywood Brown, but I think Worthy. I think Rashee Rice, what we saw at the end of the season. I think that's going to carry over to this season, and I like the Xavier Worthy pickup. Obviously, I think he takes a little bit of speed, or that speed over the top essentially for Rashee Rice going underneath. You still have Kelsey who's going to draw attention. I like this team to pass the ball. I think that the Ravens would have preferred Pacheco. Like they shut Mahomes down, prefer Pacheco to run it, which is still saying because I like Pacheco too. I think Pacheco is a dog out of the backfield. So
yeah, he runs angry.
Yeah, he does. Well, Chris, we're gonna predict this game later, but let's jump to the Jets, the 49ers. Last year Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers was out in 4 plays with a torn Achilles. This year it's Monday Night Football. It's not in New York. It's in San Francisco. It's in the Bay. Well, obviously the question is, does Aaron Rodgers last more than one drive? And then what do you expect from Aaron Rodgers in his first game back in a year?
Yeah, I mean, the guy that chased him down and tore his Achilles is now on the 49ers. So we'll see if that happens again. It possibly could happen. But I mean, Rodgers, yeah, he had a rough offseason. He had all that drama about him having to go to Egypt instead of going to mini camp. He didn't play in any preseason games, even though he had that whole podcast about how the NFL is getting soft and doesn't play preseason games anymore. And then he sits out all his preseason games. But I think we're going to see a little bit of rust on Rodgers. And I don't think the Niners is the first defense you want to go against either coming back in.
I mean, the Niners had some drama too, Chris. They had the Brandon Ayuk situation, the Trent Williams situation. I mean, it feels like back-to-back years there's been a key player, holding out or sitting out. Last year was Nick Bosa. Obviously, Ayuk did accept his deal a week ago. Trent Williams just took his yesterday. So they have some drama. But, Chris, I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to come out. I think he's going to look great. Do I think they're going to win? I mean, we'll find out in a little bit. But I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to look great. I really do. And I think this is going to be arguably the best game of the week. Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall finally, and Mike Williams, they have a quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers, if healthy, this is a dangerous team, in my opinion. I mean, we did our predictions last night. We saw some guys have the Jets go deep. I think that the 49ers could be on upset alert. I understand Aaron Rodgers has had a shaky history against the Niners, but I think the Niners could be on upset alert with the drama that they had, not just Aaron Rodgers drama. I think that Niners drama is a little slept under the radar.
No, I agree. I mean, we saw last year, we saw how many games the Jets could have won with just that defense alone. That
7.
defense was keeping them in almost every single game they were playing. It was just that offense. So if you get Rodgers, you don't even need Aaron Rodgers in his prime. You need Aaron Rodgers at 75%, and they'll win games.
I mean, like I said, they won 7 games last year without Aaron Rodgers. I mean, yeah, I get Rodgers technically was in the first game and they won it, but he didn't play enough to get that credit. That was Zach Wilson's team essentially. First game was Zach Wilson's team.
Yeah, it's like baseball with a pitcher getting a win or loss.
Yeah, really honestly, that's good. That's a good analogy there. I mean, and Jake's mentioned it. The corners in San Francisco, they're not the best. Now they have good safeties, good linebackers, good front seven overall. But the corners, so like if the Jets offensive line holds up, are the Jets corners on an island out there? They're going to get torched by Garrett Wilson, by Mike Williams, by Coughlin, the tight end. So that's another matchup is the corners versus the receivers if the front seven can't get to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I think the Jets are going to rely heavily on Breece Hall in this game to open up that run game to give Aaron Rodgers that time to pass. I fully expect Saleh to come out, do some easy completions, some short drop-off passes for Aaron Rodgers, just kind of knock the rust off. And then I think by that second half, we're going to start seeing Aaron Rodgers of what he was.
Man, I'm excited just for the idea of what the Jets. I mean, I was high on them last year. Obviously, I don't
Almost
have them in this.
undefeated.
I think I had them at like 14-3, 13-4 last year. I like the idea of what this team can be. It is better. I mean, obviously, I put the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I was just tired of betting against them. I like what this team can be. The Niners, they are a team where I've seen some people think that they could fall back a little bit. I mean, Allen had the Rams winning the division. Some of us had them in the Super Bowl. Jake had them winning the Super Bowl. So it's like, what Niners are we going to get? Especially week one, like I said, it's the drama, it's the rust. But all eyes will be on Monday Night Football when these two teams collide. It's going to be arguably probably the most viewed game. It could be one of the most viewed games in regular season history, Monday Night Football history too. I think once again, Chris froze on me once again. So I'm gonna, he's having some rough time. His computer is taking a hard lag. So it's going to be a new topic here, and I'm going to talk about the Friday night game, the first ever game in Brazil. That's right, the Green Bay Packers, the Philadelphia Eagles, and Brazil. Friday night, it's going to be 8:15, and it's going to be exciting. I wish this was a game that was in Philly. I'm not the biggest guy with international games, but hey, man, it is here nor or there. I know that the fans have the fans are not the fans, but the players are a little skeptical in the game because of the quote unquote, they can't go anywhere. They have to stay in the airport. They have to do this. They have to do that. And because of the, can't wear green, it's like a very high crime rate. But minus that, man, I think that this is going to be an exciting game. Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley in Philadelphia. Now that's the story there. Obviously the story also is can Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, can they amend their little problems they had last year where it seemed like that Nick Sirianni lost the locker room, Jalen Hurts lost the locker room. Obviously, no Jason Kelce. So how's the offensive line going to be able to function without their leader there? All eyes on that. I still think the Eagles are one of the top tier offensive line without Kelce. Now, has that affected tush push? I know that's a big play that the Eagles ran last year. I think, though, this game is going to have fireworks. I can't wait to see Jayden Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. You also have now Josh Jacobs. So two new running backs, Josh Jacobs with the Packers as well. What will Xavier McKinney look like on the defense? My eyes are on the receivers and the corners. I think this is one of those matchups because I want to see how Philly did. They went and got Quinyon Mitchell in the draft. They went and got Cooper DeJean from Iowa. They have James Bradbury. They have Darius Slay out there. So how will the secondary match up with the young receivers in Green Bay, where I still want to see them prove themselves even more? I get Jayden Reed had a good year last year. Christian Watson's a good receiver when he is out there playing, but he's always hurt or he's hurt a lot. Romeo Doubs, he's a roller coaster to me. He's a hit or miss. So I want to see what these receivers do with Jordan Love, who got his payday, and rightfully so. I mean, he looked good. He looked good at the second half of the season. He led them into the playoffs, beat Dallas, went in to San Francisco, and he pushed them. He actually had the lead, a 7-point lead, I believe, in the fourth quarter. They're 1 quarter away from beating the 49ers and moving to the NFC Championship to face the Detroit Lions, but it didn't happen. And then you have the Philadelphia Eagles. They're the opposite, right? They had, like I said, I mentioned, they had a lot of drama last year, the Eagles did, and now here we are, a new year, new coordinators. Once again, Chris, that was a big topic last year where the Eagles replaced Jonathan Gannon and they replaced Shane Steichen. This year, Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator. They have Vic Fangio as defensive coordinator. So what will the Eagles look like with a new duo at coordinators? And like I said, can Sirianni and Jalen Hurts amend their little disputes they had last year? Is what according to the reports were.
Yeah, I mean, all the reports that the connection between coach and Hurts was rough. They did add some weapons for Hurts. They added Barkley, Dotson at wide receiver. I think that
Forgot about the Dotson move too.
yeah, I think using Kelsey big. I mean, he was everything for that. I think that was huge for them. I think it's just. I mean, look, the Eagles are gonna be hungry. They're loaded now. They're hungry. They went what was it, like 6 losses, the final 7 games or something?
I believe they went 10-1. Yeah, so that's 11. I think they went, like you said, 1-6 their last. Oh no, I think they went 10-0. They lost, so 10-1. It's 11. 1-5 their last 6 games. Chris, I believe is what it was.
So a late collapse late in the year. I mean, they halfway through, everybody would have thought that they had a good shot of going to the Super Bowl, and then that collapse.
I had Hurts as my MVP last year. Before the season started, he was my MVP in the predictions for the awards. I thought that was going to carry over, and I was high because I love A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. I mean, what could you go wrong? This year, I believe they are better. I mean, it's just what can they do with the new coordinators, the drama? Doc, welcome in, man. We're talking Packers, Eagles, Brazil. Hopefully no one gets shot wearing green to the stadium.
It's so wild and playing this game down there.
Yeah, it's a little wild there. But no, I think that the biggest storyline is, I mentioned it, is – what was that, Chris?
I was going to say, did you see the picture of them getting on the plane? And apparently their team doctors advised them not to sleep on the 8 or 9 hour flight.
Damn. I mean, I don't know what the NFL's doing. Player safety on the field, but player safety off the field, it's a little I mean, I get they have security, but the fans aren't, the players aren't happy about it. I mean, Darius Slay already mentioned it. They can't wear green. The Eagles can't even wear the color. Now the Packers, like I said, they are wearing green. They're a little braver than, I guess, Philly. I was waiting for someone. My bad. I saw Doc looking.
I
have nothing on that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Chris, you say the Eagles are stacked. I thought the Eagles were good last year. I thought the Eagles were fucking stacked last year, but I think there was a lot of mismanagement. I think Sirianni, if the end of last season didn't put him on the hot seat, I mean, he's going to need a strong start and a strong finish this year to keep going. Because I know there's already a lot of people unhappy with him. I think the joke of, I don't ever envision another game where DeAndre Swift only gets 1 or 2 touches after week 1 and then literally feel like I saw that multiple weeks after that. I mean, they couldn't make up their mind. Kelsey came out talking about the maturity level, and he got tired of babysitting Jalen Hurts and this young team, and it's draining, and is Hurts going to step up and grow up, or Sirianni just the same? And honestly, it's hard to expect your quarterback to mature when your head coach is doing the same dumb shit. You know what I mean?
I mean, and that's what I was saying too. I like to see if Sirianni, if Hurts, if they can come together, do what they did in 2022, where they seem to be on, the greatest chemistry and have that connection there. I mean, that is the story, honestly. I feel like Chris froze again. Oh, no, Chris. I don't know internet. I don't know what internet you're on. Yeah, I mean, it looks like you keep freezing.
Are you like hooked up to the McDonald's next door? Or?
Yeah, I think so. No, my computer. It sounds like it's about to fucking die.
Oh, that's not good. I don't want that.
I mean, this bitch is fucking 2013,
Let's move on to the. There you go, Doc.
Damn,
yeah,
Doc.
I was about to text Doc because it sounded like his mic.
Move that a couple times. Move it a couple times. Really adjust it.
Well, let's move on to a good story, a good topic. There's 3 rookie quarterbacks starting this week, right? We have Bo Nix at Seattle, we have Jane Daniels at Tampa Bay, and we have Caleb Williams home against the Tennessee Titans. Do we expect these 3 rookie quarterbacks to have a pretty good game, average game, below average game? What do we expect from these 3 quarterbacks as they start the first game?
Bo Nix.
I mean, I can't think of what's the. Go ahead, Doc.
Bo Nix, I mean, it depends on the defense that Seattle can bring out. Their defense has been going downhill lately. Bo Nix, I don't think anybody was super high on in the draft. I think he was, an early take by Denver, but they needed something. I think he's got the potential. I think Denver's lacking the weapons to make Bo Nix elite. I guess not that he can be elite, to make Bo Nix great. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles it, but Caleb Williams, complete opposite. Caleb Williams has all the weapons. You know what I mean? I had the Titans initially taken week 1 in like a Bears, Caleb Williams figuring it out week. But I think that just the talent around, and this defense is looking great. The offense, we've seen we know what the offense has. Top to bottom, this offense is great. So it's a matter of him just being able to hold up to the pressures of and the tempo and speed of this level. And who's Jay Daniels playing again?
Tampa Bay. It's in Tampa. It's a 4 o'clock.
Yeah, and that's another tough game. I think Jay Daniels is going to fare all right, but I think it's going to be a tough game for him.
I think Daniels is going to impress. I think Caleb's got the better game out of the 3. I think Daniels is going to be above average, and I think that Bo's going to show like some spots there where he looks good, but it's in the environment of the Hawks Nest. It's a 12th man. It's just I get it, Doc. The defense hasn't been the best. Tariq Woolen fell off a little bit last year, but I like what Mike McDonald brings to the team. They did bring in Murphy, a defensive tackle from the Texas Longhorns. He is a defensive coach in general. He helps.
It is a big deal, yeah.
So, I like what he's going to do. I think he's going to do good. I had Seattle at 9 wins, and I feel bad for Bo Nix that his first game is in Seattle, and I think this might be my survivor pick. I was talking to Chris about it earlier today in our text message. I might actually flip my game to Seattle for my survivor. I think, though, Bo Nix is going to show some flashes, but like you said, the weapons, can Cortland Sutton, can he be the guy that carries the team? The tight end's always an issue there in Denver, it seems like. But, Chris, I don't know, man. I think that Bo's going to struggle. I think the other two are going to do pretty well for themselves in week 1. Not saying Jalen's going to win or anything, but those two will do good for themselves.
Yeah, Bo played really good in preseason. I know preseason isn't much. They're going against second string, third string guys that aren't even going to make the team. But he just looked control of Sean Payton's offense. And Sean Payton has a very, very particular offense that's very hard to pick up, especially for quarterbacks. You saw last year with Russell Wilson, he was having issues picking it up. And finally, Russell wasn't even Sean Payton's guy. Sean finally got the guy that he wanted. I think Bo's going to –
that makes a world of difference.
He's going to pick –
it does.
It does.
No, I'm just laughing because it's – I don't know. The whole situation last year was a mess.
No, it was. It was. But, yeah, and then Jaden looked good. I think if he learns how to slide, he'll survive in the NFL.
I don't know. When I look at these 3 quarterbacks, what is the definition of playing good? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, all 3 of these quarterbacks coming out 350 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Oh no, that's not.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not really looking at the yards, Doc.
Because you got to. No, I know, but you got to understand, who's going to have the handcuffs on? Who's going to have the training wheels on?
I think Bo is.
I think Bo is. But I think Jaden Daniels also has that opportunity because Washington is known to be a defensive team and hoping that the defense is going to keep you in the game. They've got a pretty good ground game that I think can take off at any moment if they utilize it right. The Bears are the one I think are really the pressure is on for Caleb. For it to be a good game, Caleb's got to come out there 300 yards.
That's
where I think the pressure's at.
I don't think Daniels so much is going to have handcuffs because he's got Zach Ertz. He's got Terry McLaurin. I think Luke McCaffrey is going to be a pretty good rookie. And
we're talking about a very post-Eagles Zach Ertz. No. So Zach Ertz is far from his prime of being a game changer.
But do not sleep on Ben Sinnett out of Kansas State. He could be a difference maker. I don't know if he's going to play week 1, but he's on that roster to be a versatile tight end. And like with Eckler and Brian Robinson there, I'm not saying 300 yards is great. I just think for a good game, make the correct reads, make the correct throws. I'm not saying 350. If you get 250, kind of like this is no shot at Florida State, Doc, but when Boston College's quarterback, he didn't have the big numbers, but he made the correct plays. That's why people say, oh, this guy looks good. He only had 170-something yards total, but he made the correct reads. He made the correct plays.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at. I want to see the execution. I want to see hold your own. Biggest thing, what was the biggest thing I talked about with Justin Fields was dropping his head, tunnel vision, taking off, not trusting the line, not trusting his game. The panic, that's the kind of shit that I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? I want to see somebody that holds their own, can stay calm under pressure. And that's where I think Caleb Williams is going to struggle the most out of all three of these. Because I think Bo Nix is coming in looking at, he's looking, going, hey, I don't have the elite team here. I'm not the quarterback expected to be the best this year. Whatever happens, happens. Jaden Daniels got some pressure on him in the mid-tier. And then I think Caleb Williams is like, dude, with what you got around you, if you don't get this shit, like, you're done after year one.
What were you going to say, Chris, before I did really cut you off? What were you going to say?
No, and I mean, I was going to say, I think these three quarterbacks all have different things. I think Jaden and Bo don't have the pressure. They're not coming in, starting and saying, hey, go take us to the Super Bowl, go take us to a playoff. If it happens, hey, great. But Caleb Williams, he has the pressure. They drafted him.
He's got the talent around him on both sides of the ball.
That too is he has the talent around him. But I mean, he's supposed to be like the number one prospect quarterback and so ever long. He's supposed to be the savior to the Bears. Like, this is big year for him. And to have a good game, I mean, these quarterbacks don't have to win to have a good game. They need to go out there. They need to not force the ball.
They need to show they can handle this level of play. That's what I want to see. You can hold your own, handle this level, be in this league. I don't want to see collapse, freak out under pressure, dive and turtle in the old Tom Brady tuck.
Yeah, but if the Commanders lose this weekend and Jaden has a good game, but the defense fucking blew, you can't say, "Oh, Jaden had a bad game,"
and
they lost.
But that's where I talk about with the play calling, because that's what, or the training wheels. I mean, because that's where the play calling comes in. We look at J.J. McCarthy in the game against Ohio State last year in the Big Ten championship. I don't think it was a bad game by any means, but the play calling, I mean, the run game was taken over. The play call just called for more running. I mean, if Jaden Daniels comes out, 17 to 22 for 140 yards, it's not a bad game if he's finding the open guy and moving the chains. He's doing what he's told to do.
I kind of disagree with you, Chris, slightly with I agree with the Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. They don't have to win. I'm not saying it's a must win for Caleb Williams, but if he loses this game to Tennessee, I get it. The uncertainty of what the Tennessee Titans are, I get that. We don't know what Will Levis is going to be. I don't even know if Hopkins is playing yet. He's back at practice. But if so help the Bears, if Caleb Williams loses this game, Caleb Williams, I don't give a shit. Unless he throws 400 yards and the defense gives up 30 points, that's one thing. But if he is partially, like, the main reason why they lose this game, he will be eaten alive. And it's unfair.
No, he won in 1 week. He won in 1 week.
I think he will because of the hype that people have put on the Bears. And it's not his fault. Here's
the thing, though. There's a lot of hype on him, but there were not positive reports coming out of camp. There were not super positive. His best play in all of preseason was a 2-yard flip to DeAndre Swift that went for 45 yards. That
first game.
No, he had a couple good plays, but I think week one, like, people are going to be upset, because you're hopeful, and like I said, the talent that's around him. But I think week one is going to boil down to, like, okay, this is a team trying to figure it out. They're brand new quarterback. I don't care who you are. No brand new quarterback is coming in week one and dominating the league.
Well, I mean, I agree. Like, it's rare. It is rare. I mean. But there's also never been a rookie quarterback with this talent.
No, and that's why I'm saying the excitement is there and the hope is there. But dude, your first NFL game, if anybody now, let me preface, because if he comes out, 10 of 32 with 4 picks, that's a different story. But if he comes out and the Bears lose this game and anybody fucking dogs on Caleb Williams because they lost this game, dude, it's his first NFL game. Relax. And the preseason ain't it. All right. This is a new level of play, new tempo, new speed, new atmosphere. All right. You got to give him, and honestly, you got to give him 2-3 weeks.
And that's respectable. Let's move on from the rookie quarterbacks, boys, and let's talk the returning QBs. I know we did talk Aaron Rodgers, so we can kind of leave him out of this. We have Anthony Richardson, we have Joe Burrow, we have Kirk Cousins. What do we expect from these guys? Obviously it was a wrist problem with Joe Burrow, shoulder problem with AR, and then a Achilles with Kirk Cousins. So what do we expect from these two of them? A pretty, pre-season, well, Kirk's season vet, Joe's a vet, AR still a little young behind his days. But what do we expect from these three quarterbacks returning from their season-ending surgeries last year?
Well, there's a lot of concern out of Joe Burrow coming through. The numbers, the plays over 20 yards or the attempts over 20 yards, the average yard per pass has been down. And this goes, this has been on a trend for the last 3 years. This goes back before the injury. So it's hard to blame the injury last year or the fact that he was tightened up,
Well, he was hurt all year, Doc, is what Alan likes to say.
No, I get it, but this is something that's been going on the last 3 years. Last 3 years, his numbers have, like his averages, his attempts, his trying to make plays has been taking a dive bomb for the last 3 years to be one of the worst in the NFL. I'm going to be honest, after the last report that I read, thank God he's not here because I'll deny it even after he watches this, but I'm ready to jump on board with Luke about Joey Slants.
Well, he just called him Joe Slants. Perfect timing, Doc. Perfect timing there.
He really is. He really is a 5-yard passer from, or actually I think his average is like 6.2 or something, but there's a lot of concern out of Joe Burrow camp, and it's impeding Jamar Chase, and you see the frustration, with Higgins and Boyd and why the trio isn't together anymore. I don't think it was just a money thing. Actually, I'll pass it back for the Joe Burrow. So,
well, I'll let Chris say this. Chris, I will say though, out of the quarterbacks, Joe Burrow is the most fortunate one, including Aaron Rodgers. I know we're not going to talk about him anymore, but out of the four, he's the most fortunate. I get New England's got a good defense, but at home in the jungle against the Patriots, Jamar Chase looks like he might be back. So I think Burrow is the most fortunate out of the four quarterbacks coming back from their injuries.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Joe finally went through his whole training camp. This is his first training camp in his career that
took 5 years. Took 5 years.
No, very proud of him. I mean,
he's growing up.
I mean, you talk about him getting banged up, but I mean, he also is the guy that has maybe the worst offensive line in the whole NFL.
Here we go.
Maybe that's why. That's why.
Here we go. I was waiting for that. Waiting for that.
I mean, it's the
I
truth.
agree though, but
I mean, he gets sacked the most. But
it wasn't Washington. Wasn't
well, but Joe Burrow also didn't finish the year. I mean, I get what Chris said. He might not have been the most sacked last year, but he's up there every year. He's one of the top quarterbacks
he's
being
one of the
hit
top
around.
ones.
Because I think the tops last year were the Bears and the Commanders.
But Burrow's up there though. Usually, that's the thing.
And that could be why the average yardage is coming down because you just don't have the time to let plays develop.
Yeah, and he throws a lot of slants. The deep slant, Mark.
The post slant is my favorite.
Out slant. The post slant.
The short slant.
The comeback slants too.
The in slant. The slant slant.
I think the whole wide receiver trio is beefing it out because Joe Burrow sucks is fucking bullshit talk.
See, and here's the comment too, Chris, is where this is the double standard, Luke. I wish you were here tonight. Is that what you do, right? I get it. The Bengals have invested in O-line, right? And you're not giving Joe Burrow a pass there. But when you say Lamar doesn't have wide receivers, didn't the Ravens invest in wide receivers and tight ends? Didn't they draft, I think, 3 or 4 receivers since Lamar's been there in the first round? Didn't they draft a tight end in the first round in the same class as Lamar Jackson? So, I mean, it's just you can't sit here and be double standard. Now, I get it. They invested in O-line. It's not working out. The Ravens invested in weapons. They didn't work out. We'll see what Zay Flowers is going to be, but the O-line's still been pretty bad. I agree with Chris, but yeah, that's always going to be Chris's go-to excuse for Joe Burrow. When it comes to Kirk Cousins and Anthony Richardson, though, Chris, I'm a little nervous for Kirk because it is the Steelers defense. TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith are going to be chasing him around that fucking field. And AR, it's just what you don't – I mean, I don't know what to expect out of it because they do have Daniil Hunter. And the Texans I think they brought in another couple guys too, and they have Will Anderson. So I'm a little uncertain of what AR is going to do because I think the Texans defense is going to be good. And I'm a little nervous for Kirk because of TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Honestly, 2 great pass rushers in this league.
Did you say Chris or me?
I said Chris.
pass
This
rush
is great.
team
This is
after.
I don't think
Yeah,
they
go
make
for it.
Wi-Fi. I don't think they make good Wi-Fi in
Just fucking-
Ohio.
this is like
Doc.
that. We go now live to the scene. Tom, what do you got for us? And then like 6 seconds passing.
I
Hi,
don't
Bob.
think I think Ohio needs to invest in like fiber, like Wi-Fi, something, man. They got to do something out there, Doc.
Yeah, Chris, you gotta write your congressman, man. You gotta write a strongly worded email here.
I mean, he's
You gotta do
frozen, right?
something.
Oh no, he's back.
Oh, come on here.
That I should have peeped that. That smile on that freeze though was pretty solid.
You saw
That
it; it
should've
looked
been-
good. Yeah,
that
it looked good.
That should have been his new intro picture. We're gonna have to go back and catch that.
Just in general, though, I think that I'm nervous for Kirk. I'm nervous for AR because of the defenses they're playing this week too. That's my thing with them.
I'm nervous for AR because the guy that was one of the most physical quarterbacks, one of the best combines, was essentially made of glass last year. And not to mention, injury or not, when he was healthy for the first couple weeks last year, and rookie quarterbacks, I won't hold it against him too much, but wasn't like the play was much better than his time at Florida. So still not high on AR. What did he? I think I did the math. I think a couple episodes ago, I think he averaged like 140 yards a game. Come on,
something like that. Boys, let's talk 2 more topics and let's go to our picks. We have an NFC wildcard rematch. Another Stafford versus Goff, another Stafford versus Lions, Goff versus Rams matchup. How do we feel about Sunday Night Football? Is this the right game, you think, for Sunday Night Football? Could they get anything better, obviously, besides the other primetime games? Could they? I think this is a perfect game right here for Carrie Underwood to welcome us in to NBC.
Yeah, big storyline. Stafford returns back to Detroit. So
Second time.
You got in quick on that one.
Yeah, he's
Yep,
quick
I'm
there.
here, Doc. Oh,
I like it.
but yeah, I mean, Stafford's been hurting. I think they're going to be ready to rev the offense up. They have a healthy Cup. It's the beginning of the year, so Cup's healthy. Cross your fingers.
I don't know. I got a lot of concerns on defense. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch, but I think Lions might be able to roll it up a little bit. But Lions also missing key parts where it's kind of like the opposite. The Lions have been stepping up on defense and making moves to get to bolster up that defense. But they're outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean this team is struggling on receivers.
Are we not counting the tight end?
I said receivers.
I'll say pass catchers. I think, outside Laporta.
No, I like Laporta.
I mean, I love Laporta.
And Laporta was, Laporta was leaned on heavy last year. I mean, he had like 70 more yards than Cole Kmet with 30 more catches. So,
I mean, that's fine. I mean, you can hate him all you want to. I mean,
that's great fantasy numbers.
I mean, he was a beast in fantasy. But no, I think that this game is going to be potentially the game of the week. Like you said, Doc, the Rams are going to be interesting. I still think Fisk and Verse can do good. Both Florida State rookies on the D line. They drafted them literally. They were, I think, their 2 first picks. So they invested on the D line to replace Donald. So
you had to.
Yeah. I agree. You had to. Aaron Donald's one of
It
the
took
best of all time.
It took two to replace him.
Interesting too, Chris. Is Sean McVay trying to kill Kyron Williams because he apparently is going to be the punt returner? So does that open the door for Blake Corum?
Not even that. Blake. Isn't Kyron Williams the kickoff returner and now Blake Corum's the punt returner? Or is it flip-flopped?
Well, I initially saw it was Kyron was the punt returner, which I thought was worse because if you put him in kickoff, at least you don't have guys having a running start fucking trying to blindside you, essentially.
Well, they're both returners.
So I don't remember seeing Kyron as a returner last year. That's the thing. I don't remember seeing him that much as a returner.
No, I'm not saying they are a returner. I'm just saying that, like, they have him as, even if it's a punt returner, and then they have Blake Corum as, I guess, kickoff.
Yeah, he's saying they have one at each.
Okay,
yeah. They have one at each now, which I think is crazy.
Yeah, that's putting your whole run game on watch.
Maybe that's the Scott Frost decision. Maybe he's deciding that.
And that would make a lot of sense for Scott Frost. That would make a lot of sense.
I don't know. I think this is going to be a game of the week. And guys, last one before. What is your underrated game of the week? Like a game that you like last year? Honestly, Chargers Dolphins was probably the game of the week for Week 1. A game that no one is really talking about that you think could steal the week. I mean, there's a handful on there. I see. What are you guys leaning towards?
I'll go.
Pull
I
up the old
think the
schedule back
Browns.
up.
I think Browns Cowboys. I think that's going to be a really good game.
Tom's
I
first
mean,
game.
you have the Cowboys defense that might take a little slip. You have a big year coming.
I think we lost them again there, Doc. It's.
I think
this guy's
I got-
internet stinks.
I got a couple underrated. I think Jaden Daniels going up against Baker Mayfield is going to be a fun game to watch this week. Both teams good defenses. Both teams set to explode offensively. Well, I mean the Bucs. We already know what the Bucs can do. They're pretty much the same, but I think that's gonna be a fun game to watch. I think my other underrated game. I'm gonna go Vikings Giants. I think it's gonna be a shootout.
I was like, you're gonna say it was I was hoping that Chris was gonna be around. I think he said he needs to plug his Ethernet. So
That might actually be a 1-0 win. And I don't know where they're going to get that extra point without a touchdown, but I think it might be a 1-0 win.
Well, I wanted to ask Chris, is he saying that the Browns and Cowboys is game of the week because he wants to watch his boo thing Tom Brady call a game? Because that's Tom Brady's first game, you know.
Chris ain't here. I'll talk shit probably.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's watching probably. But no, I think, Doc, I think like last year, Miami game of the week. I think Jacksonville Miami is going to be a fun game. I really do expect the Jaguars to come out and play a good game. I don't know if they're going to win the game. Obviously, we're going to say it in a minute, but I like what the Jaguars. I actually think the Jaguars are a sleeper, like 9-win team, and I think Miami's good, and it's in Florida, so no one's going to be battling the heat. Really, they both have the heat. I think the Jaguars' defense was decent last year. I think Miami's defense is going to be a little better this year. I think that Miami-Jacksonville can be the game of the week. Honestly, I do.
I don't know. I
disagree
for one reason.
Yeah.
I've lost all faith in Trevor Lawrence. I have nothing left for him. That guy has got. I don't know. He had weapons last year. He had what he needed. I thought he had plenty to make the playoffs last year. Everything I thought was, right in place. And it wasn't just, the win-loss. It was the execution. It was how he handled himself in the pocket. I mean, the decision-making was atrocious in my opinion last year. There were a lot of drops. I'll give him that. But still, I mean, Calvin really had a baller year. And it just seemed like throws were misplaced. I don't know. There was so much wrong with last year. And I think this is the real Doug Peterson that we're seeing because we saw him kind of, go well in Philly. And then the very quick downfall of Doug Peterson that I think is the real Doug Peterson. I think we're seeing that in Jacksonville.
I don't know. But, Doc, I think it's time. It's just me and you. So these predictions will go, and then we're going to follow this up with a little bit of college football. Maybe talk a little – I mean, I guess fantasy is kind of overrated right now just because usually you play the guys you draft. You know what I mean? So let's jump into it right here. We have our
shocker.
Let me take this off. So Doc, the way that we're going to do it this year is a little different than the way we did last year, right? So last year we did points, and me and you discussed it last night. And I think after like kind of cooling down, thinking about it, like I agree with you. I think it makes sense to not do the points and just say, hey, we like this. Like for example, the names on the board right here. These just represent who you got winning. Yes, the spread is -3, but these are just who you got winning straight up. Now, we're going to say I have everyone's say who they have with the spread. So we'll also say that too. So if you are trying to bet who we think is going to cover the spread, or if we just have a team winning outright and winning without or with the spread. So Doc, if you want to start us off here, it's Chiefs Ravens opening night.
Yeah, this is an easy one for me, and this is not meant to be disrespect to Baltimore, but I mean, Kansas City by 3, they're going to cover the spread easy. Patrick Mahomes is coming. Hollywood Brown is out, which I don't think is a huge loss for him. But Rashee Rice, you got Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, that Pacheco, or Edwards-Helaire is out, right?
He's out, but they do have Samaje Perine. I think that's a sleeper.
So,
I think it's sneaky right there.
I think that's a great third string running back. So, the defense is still there. This is an easy one for me. I'm taking the Chiefs covering the spread of more than 3.
Yeah, Alan agrees with you. Jake agrees with you. They have Chiefs covering the spread. Winning obviously means winning outright. Luke, obviously he's going underdog. He's going, and this happened last year. Lions did come into Kansas City. They did win on ring night against the Chiefs. So, I mean, it's possible. It was a close game last year. But, Doc, yeah, I agree with you. They got Chiefs covering the spread. I just think that this is a better team. I think the Chiefs team is better than last year. I think the Ravens are still a little better than they were last year. But I want to see the defense. Man, they lost Mike McDonald. That was one of my storylines. And I want to see what the defense is going to be without their coordinator. They lost a couple assistants as well. So we'll see.
So wait, we're doing it this way, and Luke went underdog. Are we doing is Luke giving a spread then? Because he's got Baltimore on the money line.
Well, they're the underdog.
So he's taking them winning and still covering the +3.
Well, yeah, because if the underdog wins, remember they're already given the 3 points. So if they win, they already covered the spread. If underdog wins, the spread's already covered because they're already given points.
All right, we'll have to talk a little bit more about that. But let's move on.
Oh, let's explain real quick. I mean, because I'm not. So -3 means the Chiefs already.
Right, I'm saying if Luke's if we have people picking multiple sides, winner. Luke's got to set we got to get a spread.
Oh yeah,
what he thinks Baltimore's going to win by. Are we not doing that?
No. We just did. Do they cover the spread that's given on Vegas right here? So the Vegas is -3. So we're just going. Do we think the Chiefs obviously win, and then do we have them covering that -3? So since Luke's got the underdog, he's obviously got that. Yeah.
All right.
That's what we're doing this year. But no, yeah. All right. So moving on, Brazil, Doc. Friday night football. Eagles, Packers. Eagles designated the home team -2.5.
Yeah, this is another easy one for me. This offense, especially when you bring in Saquon Barkley, this is an explosive Eagles offense, and the defense is stacked that I think can hold Jordan Love at bay. And I don't think Green Bay's defense is all impressive enough to really keep Jalen Hurts down in the tush push and keep these receivers from getting downfield. This is probably the wildest spread of the week for me, but the Eagles are covering this for sure.
Yeah, you see that Luke. Luke agrees with you. He's got Eagles covering the spread. Jake's also got the Eagles covering the spread. I agree, Doc, too. I think that the Eagles do cover this game, the spread. Saquon Barkley, good addition. The receivers are arguably two of the best. I'm not saying they are the best, but arguably probably top 3, top 4 duo receivers. Eagles defense, I think, is going to be better, too, under Fangio. Alan and Chris disagree. They have Packers winning this game, so they have the underdog. So they have, obviously, covering the spread. So 2 Packers straight up, Doc, and the 4 of us are going Eagles. Moving on to the Russell Wilson, Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to the returning Kirk Cousins Falcons. Falcons are 3.5-point favorites.
This is a tough one, too, because I want to take the Falcons because of the offense, which I did ultimately, or the lack of offense more by the Steelers, because that Steelers defense is solid. But I don't think it's enough, especially in week 1. Kirk Cousins is going to come out hungry. I think we're going to see a different Kyle Pitts, different Drake London, Bijan out of the backfield. I'm taking the Falcons over 3.5.
And we all agree with you, Doc. We all have the Falcons covering the spread. Like you said, I think this Falcons team is going to be much different. They finally have a competent quarterback that can throw a ball to a receiver, to a pass catcher. That can throw to fucking Bijan out of the backfield if you need him to. So we all agree with you. Falcons here. Still a little nervous, though, because it is the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. But moving on to the Arizona Cardinals traveling to the Buffalo Bills. They are 6.5-point favorites. The Buffalo Bills are.
I like this matchup. This might be the underrated matchup for me for the week in all seriousness.
Okay.
Because, Josh Allen's coming out, Gabe Davis, but, rookie Keon Coleman. Arizona's coming out big time, Marvin Harrison with Kyler Murray. This is a game that can definitely be impressive. I'm taking the Bills, but I'm going to take Arizona covering. I'm going to take Arizona covering the spread. I think it's going to be less than 6.5.
Jake agrees with you. He's got the Cardinals covering the spread, but Bills outright. The rest of us are all Bills. This, as of right now, is my survivor. So this is my survivor would be.
I think I took them as well.
I think I'm changing it, but as of right now, this is my lock of the week. I just expect Josh Allen to Josh Allen things. Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, James Cook. I still think the defense will be decent. But yeah, Doc, it's interesting to see what Arizona's going to be this year. And it's a good test for them week 1. Doc, this is your game. The Tennessee Titans traveling Chicago Bears, Will Levis versus Caleb Williams. The Bears are 4-point favorites at home.
Not even surprised to see Luke on the Tennessee side or Allen. Allen just needs a drug test at this point. I don't know what else to say about it. I definitely have the Bears winning. Spread of 4 is tough because part of me thinks that this offense is easily capable of more, and this defense can hold down Will Levis. But at the same time, a part of me thinks in typical Chicago Bears fashion, Caleb Williams is going to get his first game on a game-winning field goal as time winds down. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Bears. I'm going to take them. I'm going to take the Bears on the spread.
Covering the spread, right?
Yeah.
So as you
but I think it's
Doc,
going to be like a 6, though.
Okay. As you see, Doc, the two of them, Luke and Allen, they don't agree a lot. But I guess when it comes to your team, they're agreeing here. They have the Titans. Jake and Chris, they have the Bears covering the spread. Doc, I was agreeing with what you're saying. I think it's going to be Bears, but I have the Titans covering the spread. I think the underdog, it's going to be a field goal game. I think I can, like you said, walk-off field goal here. It's still a good win for Caleb Williams and the Bears, but don't know. It's the uncertainty of Tennessee. Like I said, Brian Callahan, our new head coach there, with new weapons, and I just don't know. It's the uncertainty of the Tennessee Titans. But Bears win, Titans cover the spread for me.
Yeah, and this was a flip. I could have gone either way on that.
No, I agree. I mean, can we just save this, Doc? I don't think. There's one thing different, but we all have the Bengals winning this game. I mean, it's
and honestly, an 8.5 spread. I mean, that's an easy Vegas gamble. I mean, that might be 8.5. Thinking that Joe Burrow tweaks his injury coming out of the huddle. I mean, this should be an easy money maker for the Bengals.
Hopefully Luke doesn't bet on it because he's the only one that's got the Patriots covering the spread, and that might be a Joe Burrow thing.
He's got a lot of faith in
defense.
Jacoby Brissett, but I'm surprised he even picked the. That's how much Luke goes into that he took Joe Burrow over the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the only difference. Doc, Texans, Colts. Texans are 3-point favorites.
Yeah, this is a tough one because, we saw how explosive the offense was last year. We saw a lot of shootouts. We saw where the defense really did not come together for Houston. They did get a pickup from Minnesota. So looking to see some big things happen for Minnesota and some changes on the defense. But I'm taking the spread. I'm taking Texans are going to take it by 3.
Yeah, so I was going to ask that because we have a couple games. So let's say it's 24-21 Texans win. Is that a push then because the Colts had 3 points already? Like how does that work in the betting world? When it
would be a push.
Record?
It would cancel. It would either cancel that bet or would cancel that leg of the parlay.
But let's say so for example, you predicted a 3, you have a 3. Well, are you saying that they're going to win by 3 or you have them winning by more than 3?
No, I have them winning by 3.
So that's my question. So let's say that they win by 4, but you said 3. So it's that's where I was wondering how the record happens there because we have a couple games later coming up, the Chargers and Raiders. So I was just trying to figure out how I score that as a win-loss or is that a tie? Because I know you can't have ties and it gets a spread. So I guess we can talk off air about that one.
Yeah, I got to look back because I know that I've seen that happen before. I've had legs.
Yeah, you're the better
because they have even spreads.
All right. Well, we all agree.
No. I know what it is. Because when you're calling the spread, you're not calling by exactly that point. That's why it's typically 3.5 because it's more than 3. It's more or less than 3.5. So that's why if it's -3, basically you're either taking the Colts to lose by 2.5 or less, or the Texans to win by 3.5 or more. That's why the -3 is a push. Yeah.
I hate the full number. The full number is stupid, but we all agree though, Doc. The Texans.
This means everybody in Vegas is thinking that they're going to win by 3.
Okay, so the Texans, we all agree. Everyone has Texans covering the spread in this game.
No, I don't. I have it pushing because I think they're going to win by 3, and that's not technically covering the spread because -3 is your low, so you have to be above. You have to be minus. You have to be -3.
So the only way that you can get a win with this game is if they
win by -3. Yeah.
All right, so that's how I'll write it down then. So moving on to my sleeper game of the week, the Jacksonville Jaguars from Duval County going to Miami Dolphins. Doc, Miami's 3.5-point favorites.
No, Mostert and A-Chain are going to run wild. Tariq's going to get downhill. Tariq's going to get in the backfield and run his cheetah 80-yard touchdown. I got the Dolphins by like 10.5.
And we all agree with you, Doc. I mean, everyone's got Miami winning this game, and everyone's got the spread with Miami. So nothing really to say there, just for time purposes. Let's move on. We did talk Miami-Jacksonville earlier, but hey, Chris's team, the New Orleans Saints, at home against the Carolina Panthers, NFC South rivalry. Doc, the Saints are 4-point favorites in the Dome.
They are, and this is an easy one for me on the money line. It's obviously going to be the Saints. I'd really like to see Kamara come out strong. I'd love to see Chris Olave finally get utilized the way that he should. And I mean, not that Michael Thomas was targeted all that much, but, it's going to make it harder for Olave because he's going to pick up more coverage. But this is a tough one. I'm going to go, obviously, the Saints, and I'm going to take them I'm going to take them covering the spread. I'm going to take the Saints more than 4.
So you see Allen's got the Panthers. He's got the road underdog here as the Panthers will start 1-0, Saints 0-1. We all have the Saints winning. Myself, Chris, and Jake have the spread. Luke's got the Panthers covering the spread. So he's got a close game in the South right there.
I thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Allen went with Bryce Young. And I'm actually interested to see this game too, not just because it's two teams in my division, but I want to see what Carolina's going to do in year 2 and the investment that they made in the offensive line. So be a fun game to watch, Doc. The next one, the Minnesota Vikings, 1.5-point favorites on the road at MetLife against the New York Giants.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun game. It's either going to be a really low-scoring, boring game, or it's going to be, back and forth fun game. But I think, the quarterback situation on both sides of the ball. But I think New York's going to come out just a little bit stronger. I think being in New York is going to help that. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, I don't think are going to get there. I don't think the ball is going to get to them the way that you would expect. I think there's going to be a lot of struggles on offense that's going to hold Minnesota back. And I think that New York is going to do just enough. And as much as I think Danny Dimes a dog shit quarterback, he has had moments where he's able to pull it together. And I think this is one of those moments, I think, with Malik Neighbors and with who was that fucking guy they got last year?
Last year. Oh, Jalen Hyatt.
I think with the two of them, I think we start to see the offense kind of move in the right direction, but it's not going to be enough to save Danny Dimes this year. He's going to get paid to sit on the bench because I think New York's going with a new quarterback next year.
Chris agrees with you. Obviously, he's got Giants home underdog here. Myself, Luke, Allen, and Jake have the Vikings covering the spread, winning the game. So moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to Los Angeles Chargers, where the Chargers are 3-point favorites.
Yeah, the Raiders, I really wanted to go with the Raiders on this one, but they have no fucking clue what they're doing in Las Vegas right now with this team. I don't know. It looks like there's just no set way of running this team right now. I think Jim Harbaugh coming out. I think, Quentin Johnson is going to get a huge, addition in the league this year. I think McConkey is going to get some good play this week. I like the J.K. Dobbins and, the pair coming over from Baltimore and reuniting in Los Angeles. They worked well together in Baltimore. So as long as they can, J.K. can stay healthy this year. Now that they're not in Baltimore, I'm fans of them. So I'd like to see them take off. I think they're a good Eckler replacement for the Chargers. And then obviously Herbert. Herbert's hungry, man. Herbert wants it. Herbert just needs the guys to catch the ball and execute on the plays. And he needs the defense to be, not one of the worst in the league. And what's his name still there as the offensive coordinator?
Well, Kellen Moore is with the Eagles now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he shit the bed with them last year, so we're going to see, how they shake it up this year in Los Angeles. But I'm going to take Los Angeles, and I'm going to take them for the sake of avoiding another push. I'll take Los Angeles covering the spread.
Well, speaking of pushes, Doc, this is the game I was talking about earlier. Chris and Allen, they do have Chargers, and they have them pushing. Jake has them winning and covering the spread, so does Luke. I'm going with the the road underdog where it's going to feel like a Vegas game because it's Los Angeles. The Raiders it'll be mainly black and silver. I don't care that it's in Los Angeles. The Raiders used to play in LA. People forget that back in the day. So, and obviously Oakland. This will be a home game feel for the Raiders. I think Minshew's going to come out. I think that Devontae Adams, Amir White. I think Brock Bowers is going to have a big game. I think Brock Bowers is going to have I'm going to predict it 8 catches for about 95 yards, and I'm going to say a touchdown in his rookie debut. I'm
Not a chance with Devontae and Jacoby, my guy.
Jacoby is good. Or sorry, Devontae is going to eat as well. It's going to be a Devontae and Brock Bowers game, potentially Zamir White as well. I think the offense is going to be good, but I have the.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of question marks in the quarterback category.
That's fine. Minshew is the starter for right now, and he'll start off 1-0, and then they can figure out next week. Doc, we talked about this quarterback, Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos traveling to the 12th man to face the Seattle Seahawks, where the Seahawks are 6-point favorites.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables in this game. You know, which quarterback are we going to get? Are we going to get, 2 years ago? Are we going to get last year where he kind of flubbed? Is DK Metcalf going to keep his cool and stay in the game? Charbonnet and Walker, how are they going to mesh this season? Tyler Lockett's been on a downhill, in my opinion, and Jackson Smith and Jigba's been getting, more opportunities, which I like to see because I was a fan of him coming out of Ohio State, so seeing him move up. And Denver, it's really going to ride on how Bo Nix plays. I think the biggest thing for me is the fact that there's just the offensive weapons are just not there for Denver like they are for Seattle. So I like Seattle. And I'm going to take Seattle by a touchdown, so I'll take Seattle covering.
We're all agreeing here. We have the Seahawks covering the spread, and so winning this game outright, Doc. Moving on to what Chris's sleeper game of the week could be. That's the Dallas Cowboys traveling to the Cleveland Browns, where the Browns are 2.5-point favorites at home.
God, I love this game. Amari Cooper. And the only thing I don't love about this game is Deshaun Watson. That is the only thing I don't love. Cowboys obviously are hurting on defense without Bland, missing some pieces. Cleveland, easily the better defense in my opinion, but I think Dak comes out strong. I think he comes out, slinging the rock. I think CeeDee goes off over 150 yards and 2 scores. I'm taking the Cowboys, and that easily covers the spread.
Jake agrees with you as well. Chris has Browns, but he has Cowboys covering the spread. Luke's got the Browns cover, and so do I. And Doc, people forget this is a Amari Cooper revenge game against Dallas Cowboys, former Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah.
So
no, it's going to be a good showing. I mean, I think, you know what? I've been all over the place in my underrated game of the week, and I wanted actually no, because this one ain't even underrated. Let's be real.
Yeah, I mean, it's Fox's game of the week. Like I said, it's Tom Brady's debut game. But Doc, we talked about this guy a little bit too. Jane Daniels, his rookie debut for the Commanders, traveling to Tampa Bay, 3.5-point favorites for the Bucs.
Yeah, I tell you, imagine if Washington knew how much they were going to suck and land Jaden Daniels before they had a fire sale on their defense last year. If it wasn't for that, I think this is a much better Commanders team, but they lost a lot of pieces on defense that they gave away for ultimately almost not. I mean, they got a second rounder from the Bears, but Jaden Daniels, I think coming out is, it's going to be a learning moment for him. Scary Terry, I'm not super impressed with him. I mean, this is a guy that I don't think has put up crazy good numbers that says he's an elite guy. I know that you're high on him this year and you're looking for a breakout year, and I think he's going to have a breakout year. I just don't think it's going to happen in week 1. Baker's going to come out. I think he's going to handle business. I'm taking the Bucs covering the spread.
Alan and Chris are taking the road underdog Commanders, and we agree, all of us agree with you, Doc. Me, Luke, and Jake agree. I think it's going to be a close game, but I do think it's going to be Tampa Bay covering the spread here. I still think 1-score game, and it's down to the wire. I have Baker.
But Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, man.
Yes. More experience for Tampa Bay. That's why I have them.
And that defense is still locked down.
I think it's hit or miss, but I think it'll be decent this game because the rookie quarterback, we'll see what happens, Doc. Yeah. Sunday Night Football, like I said, one of the games of the week, in my opinion, the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Detroit to face the America's favorite, right? Seems like right now, the Detroit Lions, 3.5-point favorites for the home team, Doc.
Yeah, definitely going Lions on this one. I think that's a no-brainer, but I think my big question mark is that Rams defense. I like the Verse edition. But I mean, Aaron Donald was just, I don't care how many people you draft, you're not filling Aaron Donald's hole. So I'm taking the Lions, but I think the Rams are going to cover the spread. I think that offense is explosive. I think, the combination of Puka and Kupp, you can't sleep on this offense. So I'm going to take the Rams covering.
Luke, Chris, and Alan agree with you. Lions win, Rams cover the spread. Myself and Jake are opposite. We have Lions covering the spread here. I think close game still. It's one of those things where maybe 4 point, 6 point, 7 point game. But I think the Lions are going to come out. Last year was a 1 point win in the playoffs. So, but no, yeah. Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Laporta, St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson, DJ Reader. I'm calling Lions.
No, it's gonna be a 3-point game, and Stafford. It's not even going to be a interception. Stafford's just going to lose on a 4th down failed conversion.
Damn.
It's going to go up to Kupp, the one that you trust, the good, the wholesome receiver that you've relied on for so long, and it's just going to go in and out of his hands.
That would be heartbreaking for Matthew Stafford, as that would be his second loss in Detroit. I mean, he's lost there plenty of times in his careers, but this time,
yeah, you ain't kidding about that. That's a familiar feeling.
Yeah,
that's home.
Yeah, it's home. It's a home feeling. And Doc, the last game of the week, Monday Night Football, a returning Aaron Rodgers heading to the Bay, his former hometown team, San Francisco 49ers, 4.5-point favorites against the Jets.
Yeah, I like San Francisco on this one. Offense, defensively, I mean, top to bottom, I like this team. I like the Jets. I just think the Jets could use a little bit more on offense. Breece Hall, phenomenal running back, one of the best in the league. Garrett Wilson, great wide receiver. But outside of that, I think they're lacking. Aaron Rodgers is the kind of quarterback that can make any one of those guys, stand out. But we're also talking a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers coming off an Achilles injury, what's Aaron Rodgers going to look like this year? So I really want to take the Jets covering the spread. This is a tough one.
It's tough. It is a tough one. I agree with you there.
This is a tough one. I'm gonna go Giants covering, because Giants starts or Jets. No, I'm sorry, Niners. I don't know why I said Giants. Niners covering. They're going to start strong. CMP is going to come out over 125 yards, 2 scores on the ground, maybe 1 out of the backfield receiving. I'll take the Niners covering.
Well, you said Giants because the other Bay team for baseball, the San Francisco Giants, so it makes sense. Doc, myself, Chris, we say Niners win, Jets cover. Jake, of course, is going Niners all the way, covering the spread along with Allen. And Luke is alone on the Aaron Rodgers Island. He's going New York Jets road underdog, takes it this week for him.
Let's be real, though. Jake's probably got the Niners by like 74.
I think he respects the Jets a little bit. But, yeah, I know he wants them to win, but I said he hates Aaron. I mean, I don't think
it's going to be much more, because late Aaron Rodgers is going to come out. Second half Aaron Rodgers is going to come out all perked up doing what he does. But I think CMC is a big impact on this game. I love the Jets defense. I don't know. As good as the Jets are defensively, they still have their struggles.
They do, but I feel like last year the struggles were because of how bad the offense was. So they were.
I think it was morale. It was definitely a morale issue. I think mostly
they were gassed. They're on the field so much, like I can't even get a breather because the offense is like, all right, well, here you go, 5 plays, sometimes 3 and out. Here you go. Here's the ball back. The defense, make it work for us. It's like, come on. And Rodgers isn't going to do that. I mean, Rodgers, I guess, was very, very short sample size, but he was driving the ball in the first possession of the game. Now, obviously, we don't know what would happen for the remainder of the year. But
thing about the Niners, though, I mean, the Niners have the kind of offense that can spread you out and keep you all over the field. Yeah. Keep the entire defense moving, keep them tired. Between, like I said, CMC out of the backfield, Ayuk and Debo both going in directions. You still have George Kittle, who is not the impact player he used to be, but he does have flashes where he can still come out for 7 catches and 120 yards. We saw that last year. So, this is on Purdy to step up, take control of this team, show that what happened late last year is not the Purdy, before the Ravens. Show that you can come out, take control of this team, spread the ball, put the ball where, keep them moving, keep this Jets defense tired. And I think that's what's going to get the Niners the win.
And we talked about it, me and Chris did before you joined us. This is the drama game. I mean, the Aaron Rodgers with his drama going to Egypt, Ayuk and Williams, they got paid, so the drama there. So we'll see which one is going to get the win after all the offseason annoyance that it was.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of salary drama in the Jets.
Well, let's transition, Doc, to a little college football. That's right. The game of the week obviously is the Texas Longhorns traveling to Ann Arbor to face the Michigan Wolverines. It is the Big Fox noon kickoff. Doc, what do you expect? What storylines are you looking at when it comes to the Longhorns of Texas and the Wolverines of Michigan?
My big storyline is Arch Manning playing the full fourth quarter. This game isn't even close for me. Even going to Ann Arbor, Michigan was sloppy. Regardless of what the score was, the last one was on a pick six, and they barely won. They couldn't even cover a 20.5-point spread against a Fresno State team. Coming off a national championship, couldn't cover the spread against Fresno State. This isn't even close for me. This Michigan team is not the team that we saw last year. I'm not even going to call it, first game jitters or rust. Texas came out on all cylinders, knowing that Michigan was coming up. I think Texas is going to come out and handle business. Ain't even going to be close.
I'm going to be nervous because obviously it's my team. It's a quote unquote big game, obviously, for people that are watching. So I am a little nervous because it's the bounce. I mean, it's the big house. It is a game. I mean, one of the reigning champions, a new SEC team, and us. I mean, all eyes are going to be on us if we can live up to that SEC name that we are now. So I think when I saw videos, they said, "Oh, if they could stop Texas' running game, Quinn Ewers can't really dominate." Well, I beg to differ on that. We do have weapons. I think Quinn Ewers doesn't have to solely rely on the running game. Yes, the running game has been nice since he's been there. He had Bijan Robinson. He did have Jonathan Brooks last year. Yeah, I get it. Run game's been solid with him, but he knows how to deliver the ball. He knows where to put it at.
I brought it up before. This is no different than J.J. McCarthy in the Big Ten Championship. J.J. McCarthy's still a first-round quarterback after throwing for like 177 yards against Ohio State. There's games where you just don't need to come out throwing for 400 yards. And honestly, you look at the cupcake games, a lot of quarterbacks not throwing for 300 yards. A lot of it is the run game. So this is what I expected to see from Texas. This is going to be the game. This is going to be the test for Texas. I don't. On paper, this is a test for Texas. I don't think it is. Texas is going to start to get into the SEC, but this is a weak Michigan team compared to what we saw last year. I think that they were way overhyped. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. I mean, what do we consider a blowout for Michigan, right? Are we talking more than 14 points? But I think Texas my spread for Texas is, if I had to pick, I'm going minus 17.5 on Texas.
Man, I mean, right now we're 7.5 point favorites. We talked a little bit last night. I think this game is the battle of the trenches. Texas, last year especially, they were really good at stopping the run. Michigan loves to run the ball, so that's the key thing to them. Texas last year, even against bad teams, we struggled to stop the pass. I get it, Colorado State's not good, but we did maintain their passing game. This year, I think our pass defense is better than it was last year. So if Michigan can't run the ball, I mean, what's Michigan going to do? I mean, because that's just going to fire up Texas even more. And I get it. They're going to be feeding off the crowd. But if you can't establish what you do the best, which is what Michigan's known for, is run that ball, I think we can win this game easily. But I'm also a little nervous because, like I said, it's the college game day. It's on Fox as the standalone game there. It's just one of those. For a Texas fan, I'm nervous. Now, obviously, I think
I'd be more nervous if this game was at night.
Oh, at night I'd be a little more nervous because the atmosphere. The kids are drinking all day. The fans are going to be more wild. But Doc, I think it's going to be a one-score game. I really do. You might be more.
I don't. One of my main storylines of the year is Michigan being overrated.
I agree they're overrated. I just think that this defense can keep it in check a little bit, where it keeps the game entertaining, and all eyes still on it in the fourth quarter. It's just because of the defense. That's the reason why.
We'll see.
And Doc, Saturday night on NBC, we have Colorado and Nebraska. I mean,
Hang on.
Oh, you have something for this, huh?
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
So Colorado, Nebraska, obviously last year, Colorado upset. It was an upset, I guess, on paper. According to them, they stormed the field, so that's an upset. They beat the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Doc, and now this year they have Dylan Raiola, whatever you want to call him. Ravioli, I heard is his nickname on social media. Patrick Mahomes Jr. is what people are calling him, too. So do we see a Cornhuskers team hungry this year, better this year, and ready to avenge that loss?
Give me Dylan Raiola, the number 2 quarterback prospect in the 2024 class, to walk on Colorado. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means, but they're coming into Cornhusker territory. We saw the struggles with Colorado. I mean, don't get me wrong, North Dakota State is a good football team, so I'm not going to, shit on Colorado too much. I think they should have handled business better, but Colorado is still a seriously incomplete team outside of 3 players: Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, and I don't even know the other guy's name, the other receiver they got. Yeah, he's pretty good, but Nebraska looks like they are finally recovering from the PTSD that is Scott Frost. They look like they're finally coming together as a team. We saw it in week 1. This is a different team. The momentum coming into this game, playing at home now, I think the crowd is going to go wild for this true freshman quarterback. I'm looking for Nebraska. I don't know what the spread is, but if I had to pick, I'm probably taking Nebraska. I think it'll be a 1-score game.
I can tell you the spread real quick, Doc.
No, you're good. I'll take my 1 score.
I think, though, like what I was looking at, like when I was watching that North Dakota State game, Doc, last week was, I said North Dakota State, they can't make mistakes and they have to capitalize on them if they get the mistakes from Colorado. Well, they didn't capitalize on every single mistake. If Colorado comes up short 3 and outs here and there, a turnover here and there, Nebraska's not North Dakota State, and that's no disrespect to the
no, you're just talking 2 different levels of play. You're talking FCS and FBS. You know what I mean?
Talking, like you said, the number 2 quarterback, and he could be the best quarterback in the 2024 class. DJ Lagway will start this week against Stanford, but
the ends, the tackles are bigger. They're faster. They get off the line quicker. They're going to get after Shedeur Sanders quicker than what North Dakota State did. We saw the problems last year with the Colorado offensive line. After North Dakota State, I'm not going to say that we saw them put through the ringer or put to the test. I want to see what Nebraska does. These are corn-fed boys. I want to see what these guys do against this mediocre Colorado offensive line. I want to see how much they improved it in the transfer portal and new recruits. We're going to see what happens, but I think Nebraska's taking this.
It's still crazy that the number 2 quarterback did choose Nebraska. I mean, number 1 chose Florida when they were struggling too. So, and he's starting this week, Doc. DJ Lagway will be starting against Stanford. Not the same level of competition of Colorado, but hey, good to see DJ Lagway starting. I think he should have started all along. I'm not a big Graham Mertz fan, but
there could have been any number of reasons why he didn't.
Well, Graham Mertz almost died on the field last week. He got destroyed. Like I think the end of the third, beginning of the fourth.
That's why. Maybe they knew he was going to get fucked up.
I thought it was moments. I thought he was going to start eventually, anyways. But yeah, Doc. Though I think this is going to be this game right here. Social media, the media in general, it's going to be blown up. It's going to be.
I just want everybody to see this is the same Colorado of old. This is the same overhyped PR team that's going to have a losing record, not go to a bowl game. Bring it on. And I hope Nebraska storms the field.
They won't. They're classic.
Listen, I don't even want to see them storm the field. And not even just take the goalpost and throw it down the Tennessee River. I want to see them rip the goddamn seats out of the 300 level and take them bitches home as souvenirs, okay? I want to see somebody walking home with the hot dog cart from the concourse, okay? That's what I want to see Nebraska fans do to put in their face when they beat Colorado this week.
Oh, man, I want to see – obviously, my eyes are on, like you said, the quarterback battle. Of course, Travis Hunter. I do like Travis Hunter. And
yeah, it's hard not to.
The guy's got the heart. And he's not a big, he doesn't come off to me as an asshole neither. Like I get, he talks shit. I mean, that's what all guys do in college. But he doesn't seem like he's over about
No,
it. Like he
listen, my problem with Colorado is that because Primetime is your coach, you're automatically this amazing team. You're not. You're not. Oh, he brought all his. You understand his players were where was he at? Jackson State.
Jackson State.
Jackson State. So I don't care who Primetime brought over from Jackson State. All right, if these guys were worth the damn, they would have been in a Colorado program or a Nebraska program or anybody but Jackson State. They would have been in the Power Four conference. Okay, so that tells you how good these guys are.
Yeah, there was only
And
probably
they showed it last year when they went 4-8.
Shador and Travis Hunter coming out of high school probably were guys that could have been in a Power 5 at the time conference. Oh, well, shit. Travis Hunter was committed to Florida State pretty much, and then he did back out. So
Yeah.
it was also number one. I think it was like number 1 or number 2 overall player in high school when he came out too. So I mean, that is what it is. But we know why he went there for Dion. That's good. I mean, he went there for,
And that's fine. But the rest of these guys, I'm not saying Dion's doing a bad job recruiting. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. But this team just is not there yet. They weren't there last year. Had no business being in the top 25. I think that was like the biggest mistake that they made. Well, second biggest behind, obviously, the CFP, but we won't talk about that. But the biggest mistake, they beat a TCU team who was overranked to begin with. Like 75% of their starters were changeover. All right, TCU had no business being ranked to begin with. And then you come out and beat a terrible Nebraska team, and then you put them in the top 25. I don't know what.
yeah.
And honestly, and that's why I say it was a PR thing. It was primetime. They put him in there. You shouldn't have been in there, period.
Well, Doc, the other night game, Tennessee and North Carolina State. I know NC State struggled against a no-name school last week. Tennessee, I get played a cupcake school, but this quarterback, Nico, man, he looks like he could be the real deal. And this is a good test in NC State night game, the Wolfpack. I think this game could not like shoot Tennessee up. Like, okay, let's start respect them a lot more. But I think this game are going to open eyes a little bit if Nico comes out and he has another phenomenal game this week.
I think last week shot Tennessee up against a no-name or not. I mean, this wasn't a team that just pounded the ball on the ground. This is a team that looked like they were out there and knew what they were doing. We saw blowouts last week that were kind of like, okay, this is the usual we expect. You ran a streak route, beat them deep, put the ball on the ground and had 200 yards rushing. This is a team that made some impressive plays, some impressive execution. Honestly, what I saw last week with Tennessee, when I look at all the blowouts, and don't get me wrong, everybody played phenomenally. Texas, Ole Miss is another fun one to watch, but Tennessee was a game that was like, damn, no name or not. I mean, they're like at the drawing board out here, making plays, like experimenting with shit and making it work is kind of what it seemed like to me. So what I saw last week put a lot of stock in Tennessee for me. I'm expecting an easy win over North Carolina State. I'm excited for NC State. I think that, good things are to come, but I think Tennessee is just, they're showing that they're not a one and done after Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt, that they're here to stay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. Like I have a buddy, Lee. He's in Tennessee, and he's a Gator fan. But he was saying, dude, like obviously hears about the Tennessee Volunteers all the time, and he said, man, this quarterback, he's legit. He's been hearing a lot of shit about him, and he came out, man, and God, I mean, like, good arm strength, good velocity. He puts the ball, like I said, Doc. He did the things he's supposed to do. He put the ball where it needs to go, and that's what you wanted to see from a guy like this. And offensive line, they're fucking big boys up there. They're ready to go. The defense actually looks at least competent this year, which Tennessee, their defense has been a little hit or miss the last couple of years. That was the biggest part, honestly, the Hendon Hooker era was the defense.
Yeah.
The defense looks decent this year. They've been recruiting pretty good too. Tennessee's recruiting has been pretty solid. So So Tennessee, I think, is going to win this game. It's in Charlotte, too. It's not going to be in NC State Stadium. I was wrong about that. It's going to be in Bank of America, Panther Stadium. The Duke's Mayo Classic.
I'm excited to see, what NC State is doing up there. But like I said, I think Tennessee, I was just way too impressed last week. Got all the blowouts. They were my favorite. They were the most entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I can't.
But shout out to your team. I don't want to skip on that. Shout out to your team with the shutout because that was very impressive last week.
Yeah, 52-0. I mean, I thought I even told you I was like, I don't know if we cover the spread. I mean, and I told Luke that too. I was like, I mean, week one, I thought
No, you
Colorado
definitely
State,
covered the spread.
I mean, I think we covered that easily. I mean, like you said, Quinn Ewers played the whole fucking. I mean, he came in, I think, in the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. He might have came in the end of the third quarter. Arch did. I'm sorry, not Quinn, but Arch did.
I don't remember. I had a box up, and that was not one of the games I was able to see on the games that I needed to see. Plus, they were already blowing out pretty quick, so I was like, "They're good." I did tune in. I think they were up. I think they were up 21-0 when I started watching, and then it very, because I think it was like the second half, and it very quickly got to like 35-0, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." Something around there.
Once
they
it
put up
38,
just a couple of minutes, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. They're good."
Once it 38-0, that's when Arch came in that following.
Yeah, because I put you guys on to make sure I was covering the spread because you guys hadn't yet, and then I remember I like got up to go take a piss, came back, and you guys went from nowhere near the spread to completely dominating the spread, and I was like, all right, I don't know what the fuck just happened. Apparently, they scored a 21-point touchdown. I don't know what just happened, but Texas is good. Moving on.
App State, Clemson, Doc. Does App State pull the upset over the Clemson Tigers? There's this bounce back game. Now, I'm not going to talk too heavy into it, but I want to know, does Clemson get upset by Appalachian State?
I'll keep this easy too. Absolutely not. This is not an App State Michigan game that we're talking about from a decade ago. I mean, Clemson's going to hold it. Clemson isn't that bad. I think they are overrated this year. I don't think they're that bad. And honestly, this is a perfect time game for Clemson to come up against a nobody, after getting dominated by Georgia. I mean, this is something that you would have to click on a special thumbnail to see what happened in this game last week against Georgia. But App State is a cupcake team for them to walk over. This is no doubt for me. Clemson wins. I'd love to upset. Fuck Clemson, but it ain't gonna happen.
Let Clemson struggle. Even just winning by kind of like what Oregon did against Idaho. And
I'm still not impressed with Klubnik.
The media will be all over Clemson. Doc, last one, unless you have a one, I'm not tracking. This is always a fun one, week 2 of the season. The Battle of Iowa State, and the Hawkeyes. This time it's at the Hawkeyes. The head coach is returning. Hey, good for Iowa, man. They scored 40 points last week, something we haven't seen in a long time. So.
Listen, I know you and I were talking about this game when it was going on last week with Iowa, and I was talking a lot of shit about this. It was nice to see him come alive in the second half, but is that, we went to the drawing board and figured out we were doing wrong, or, was this, the opposition just giving up and quitting on life? Because it really could have gone either way. Illinois State is, FCS team.
Yeah.
I expected Iowa to come out stronger on this. I'm hoping that they build off of this. I know McNamara, I was looking at, they put the numbers up there, averaging like 170 yards over his 21 starts, something like 3,700 yards over 21 starts. Nothing impressive.
Beast.
This is going to be the test for Iowa that comes out and says we're not just defense. Even if it happens late for Iowa, seeing Iowa come out, handle business, do something offensively, I've got to see something happen for this team. I'm glad it happened late for Iowa, but it's got to happen better than that against an Illinois State type team.
Because Iowa State, they're going to come. I mean, this is a rivalry game. This is Iowa versus Iowa State.
Yeah.
These two teams, they play brutal against each other. Like, it's defense. Defense.
And Iowa State is not a team to scoff at the last couple of years.
No, the Iowa State, like, even if they don't win games, they usually will, like, put you in a fight.
No, they pester you. They just pester you.
Playing, especially at Iowa State at night. It's at Iowa, but Iowa. I think it's.
I just want to see them wear I want to see the nude skin pants again.
CBS's game too. So now they have Big Ten. This is the 3:30 slot for the CBS crew. So this is Big Ten's game of the week, essentially, is what they're saying.
I think Iowa's still going to pull it out because that defense is.
It's filthy.
Yeah, I mean, this is easily a top 5 defense, and they traditionally are. Iowa's always been a good defense.
Oh.
The question for me was just, what is the Iowa offense going to do? But seeing what they did late last week, there's hope. I just want to see it happen from the start.
Come out, execute. And I'm going to tell you, and it wasn't, and McNamara, I don't know how much of that game that you watched. McNamara was atrocious in the beginning. I mean, this guy was throwing behind, throwing low. I mean, I don't know what this guy thought that he was throwing, like dig outs in baseball where you throw one hopper to the first baseman trying to scoop it. I don't know what sport this guy thought he was playing, but I think at halftime somebody clicked and was like, hey, it's football, right? We don't play the ball off the ground. And I think oh shit, it was a light bulb moment for him. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just first game jitters. Maybe he was just trying to overthink against an FCS Illinois State team, but that kind of stuff cannot happen again, especially as you start to get into conference play in a very difficult Big Ten conference. A Big Ten conference that's only getting better with the recent additions of USC, Oregon, but McNamara's got to come out playing a lot better. The execution was seriously questionable, so I think that's a big question. The big the $100 question this week.
And for the other top 25 matchups, I'm not really tracking anything else, Doc. I mean, I know people are going to say, "Oh, South Florida versus Alabama." This is not Alabama. Yeah, Alabama's going to run over that team. Utah Baylor, that could be a fun one in Utah. It's a 3:30 game. Besides Georgia Tech, Syracuse. I mean, now Georgia Tech's ranked.
Every conference is going to have rivalries and shit like that going on.
Oklahoma State, Arkansas. That could be a fun one.
Arkansas is getting better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could be a fun one. Ollie Gordon, Heisman candidate. Heisman candidate. Dude, Luke and them keep posting photos to us, and they say that Dylan Gabriel is now he's still tied with the odds. I'm like, I get it, like it's still week 1, but there's no way, like if you're gonna update these betting odds weekly, he cannot be tied for one. I get he didn't have a terrible game, but Jackson Dart and the running back from Boise State, the quarterback from Arizona State, the receiver from Arizona, they all fucking balled out. Like you don't have.
Listen, we're putting on odds for Heisman. We're in week 2.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at a damn thing Heisman right now because you can come out and have a good week. Dylan Gabriel could have come out there for 500 yards. I need to see that sustained,
Yeah. I have a little bone to pick, too, with Barstool. One of the talking heads out there, I don't know his name. I mean, he's always poking shit. And I'm not, obviously, I think it's funny that it's your team, but I do think it's funny y'all 0-2. But to sit here and say, how are you 0-2 after week 1? Well, you answered your own question, dipshit. They fucking had a 0-week game. Like, I get it. Like, they fucking, after 1 week. But to sit here and ask that dumb question, I don't give a shit if it's rhetorical or not. Shut the fuck up. Like, you can sit here and mock them for how bad they are.
That's somebody talking to hear his own voice.
Because I was like, I get it. It's funny, but dude, that's a dumb rhetorical. It's not even a good rhetorical question. Because obviously they played, and it's like, oh, well, Florida State's the only team to lose in both our 2 continents. Well, there's only 2 teams that played in a fucking other continent.
Listen, stick to picking pizza joints, okay?
It wasn't Dave. It was not Dave.
No, I know, but that whole crew is on that shit.
But no, Doc, man, it's gonna be a good weekend. Saturday, I'm gonna probably 3:30. I'm gonna after the Texas game, I'm gonna take my daughter out, do some shit before the Tennessee game, Colorado game. And then Sunday, man, it's back, baby. It is. NFL is here. Hey, we are less than 24 hours away from the Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs. Discord will be on fire tomorrow as, Luke's team, the Ravens. I'm waiting for someone to poke it, wait for someone to start the conversation tomorrow. That's when I hop in. I wait.
Look, I want it to be a good game, but I also want it to be like a Kansas City 21-0 lead in the first quarter.
And then maybe like Lamar then attempt to come back and then fail it.
And just throw like pick after pick after pick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's one of those games.
Like I want to see Chris Jones fucking pull one down,
Yeah, we didn't even talk. We didn't mention his name. That's the first time we've said Chris Jones' name on the podcast tonight.
Yeah, because the drama's over. He got paid.
Doc, good luck to the Bears this weekend.
Same to your Falcons.
Thank you. I'm rooting for you guys. I'm honestly rooting for the Bears this weekend. I'm hoping the Bears actually do good this year.
Listen, it's a win for me if Caleb doesn't come out and completely shit the bed. I mean, our quarterback history, like you got to look at what a winning quarterback is in Chicago.
You
You
know,
might have to eventually buy a number 18 jersey if he actually is the real deal. You might have to.
I might, dude. I might. I'm thinking about getting a Roma Dunze jersey already.
Yeah, I do need to upgrade my jerseys. I've only got right now Matt Ryan, Julio, and Roddy. Riz, shout out to you. He says, "Fuck the Bears, Skull Vikes, boys."
Oh yeah, because the Vikes are going to do so goddamn good this week, Riz.
Riz,
Casey.
Chris, and Doc are the only two to take the Giants as a home underdog. So if
I
you go
took
back
the
and watch-
Giants, baby.
Took Danny turnovers is what we call him. I don't think he remembers Riz. Sam B. Biscuits is the quarterback right now in Minnesota. So Sam Darnold versus
And that's why they're going to lose. Sam Darnold
That
alone. Just
might
fuck
be
Colin
the-
Coward.
there, right there. Sammy Biscuits MVP. Riz, I'm not gonna lie. This might be the worst quarterback matchup of the week. Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones. Like I just it just hit me. It is the worst quarterback matchup of the week.
Yep.
I think Bo Nixon and Geno Smith I'd rather watch.
And that's the worst part with Minnesota is it doesn't. You can roll the dice, spin the wheel. It doesn't matter which quarterback. Even if JJ's healthy, it's gonna be the worst quarterback matchup because they all fucking suck in Minnesota.
I mean, yeah, I think Minnesota's a talented team. It's the quarterback play. I don't know, Riz. Bryce Young, Derek Carr. I mean, it's 2 R's, but I think that I'd rather take Bryce Young and Derek Carr.
No, there's potential in Bryce Young, Derek Carr.
Yeah, I'd rather see that. And I'm just not like I said, we're not Daniel Jones fans on the show, man. And Sam Darnold, I mean, this isn't Colin Coward. We don't
Giants fans aren't even Daniel Jones fans. All right. Giants fans are like we're fucked.
Well, speaking of that, Riz, what color do you think he is painting his fingernails? Because Doc said blue or orange last time you asked this question. So I don't know if he paints his nails this week, Riz, but so no, Doc. He said pink. Riz is gonna. Riz is a hater, dude. He just hates the Bears. Honestly, I think the Bears. He's tired of the Packers being good, but I think he respects Green Bay. He just does not. He does not get along with Chicago. What he calls people delusional Bears fans. So
Because we give him the beat down, that's why. And he's going to see it twice this year.
possibly could. No, but Riz, thanks for coming here, man. We're going to sign out. We're going to be back Tuesday night when we're here to recap the beautiful week of the NFL and college football. Hopefully we have some fireworks. We have some things to talk about, some storylines to talk about, fantasy football. Not really much to talk about fantasy because you just play the guys you drafted right off the jump. But Doc, like I said, good luck to the Bears. Riz, good luck to the Vikings out there. Good luck to all the other teams that are watching. I'm Mark Davis. That's Doc. And this is All About the Balls podcast. We are out. Good luck this weekend, boys and girls.